All right, so page 141 in the Math 1 books, number 16 through 21, it says graph the function and identify its domain and range. Compare the graph with the graph of y equals the square root of x. So um, these are some of the harder topics in math. First off, graphing functions. That's just, it ends up being tough for kids. Identifying domain and range. That is pretty tough for kids. So anyway, let me help you out. Numbers 16 through 21. We're just going to do 16 and 19 here. Okay. So basically, what you're going to do is just your starting point um, in your x and y table. Is always going to be the additive inverse of the number in the middle. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's always where the radicand is equal to 0. So what you do is you set that equal to 0. You get it's negative 6 in this case. Okay? So that's equal to 0 minus 4. Negative 6, negative 4 is your first point. Negative 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, negative 4. Whoa, I'm a little bit crooked on the screen. There's negative 6, negative 4 maybe. Alright. And basically what you're going to see is you're going to see a quadratic that looks like this. Okay? And of course I do want to make all the points accurate, and I'll show you how to do that. But first off, let's deal with domain. Domain is where the inside of this is greater than 0. Remember, you can't have a negative inside the square root. So I'm going to get a little closer here. So I'm going to say x plus 6 is greater than 0. And that's greater than or equal to, because it can equal 0. So x is greater than or equal to negative 6. That is your domain. Greater than or equal to negative 6. Okay? And your range are all the y values that you would get with the respective x values that you plug in. So if I substitute in a negative 6, I get negative 4. And what you see is this graph is going upwards. So the range is actually all the y values that are greater than or equal to negative 4. All right. So, okay. The domain x is greater than or equal to negative 6. So for domain, I'm only looking at that horizontal axis. So where in this entire graph do I see x values? Only to the right of x equals negative 6. And now, where on the entire graph do I see y values? In other words, I don't see any y values down here, but everywhere else from negative 4 and up, I'm going to see a piece of that square root function. So where do I see the square root function? It's where x is greater than negative 6, greater than or equal to negative 6, and where y is greater than or equal to negative 4. This is how I'm getting my answers here. Okay, in most cases, you can get, in all cases, you get the domain from underneath the square root. It's just not always that easy. But in most cases as well, this negative 4 floating out here, that tells you what your range is. It's typically y is greater than or equal to, but it can also be less than or equal to, due to the fact that we could have a reflection across the x-axis. So how would I compare this to the parent function y equals y equals the square root of x? This one is shifted left 6 and shifted down 4. Shifted left 6, shifted down 4. Okay, so now let's actually go back in and substitute in some x values and get the y values to where it's somewhat of an accurate graph. Let's go ahead and get 3 points. So I've plugged in -6, and that made the inside of this 0. And what I'm going to do for the rest of these is make sure that the inside of the square root is 1, and then I'm going to make sure the inside of the square root is 4. So x plus 6 equals 1. So x equals 1 minus 6 is -5. I'm going to substitute in a -5 then. That gives me 1 in here. 1 minus 4 is -3. And then I'm going to take x plus 6 and set it equal to 4, because that's my next perfect square. The perfect squares are 0. When I set this equal to, or the inside equal to 0, set it equal to 1, and then now I'm going to set it equal to 4. Subtract 6, x equals -2. So -2 here. When I substitute in a -2 here, I get 2 minus 4. It's -2. So let's just plot those 3 points. -5, -3, which I had already plotted, because there is a little shortcut to find that one. -5, 3, and then -2, comma, -2. So I drew this a little bit off the first time I drew it. So -2, -2. I'm going to label all of those points so my teacher will appreciate it. Okay? Either you can label points like this, or you could just label the actual graph itself, the square root. So you could say y equals square root of x plus 6 minus 4, and I would know that that's what you graphed. Okay, that's all I'm going to do for now. I'll do number 19 in the next video. Take care.